Hi, my name is Gibson, and I'm the creator of the Personal Development School. This is your daily breakthrough video. And in this video, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how to stop feeling so insecure in your relationships as a fearful avoidant. Now, some fearful avoidants will be like, I don't feel insecure in my relationships. And this may be the case when a fearful avoidant in their dating stage of a relationship, particularly. Fearful avoidants tend to be very secure in this stage because they don't have a lot of their fears or wounds coming up too much just yet. It tends to be the sort of theme that when a fearful avoidant is forced to make a bigger commitment, so something like deciding you're going to be exclusive in your relationship together, or really put a lot of focus and energy into your relationship together, or make bigger commitments like about to move in together, or getting engaged or getting married or having children. It's here around the larger commitments we'll see some of the fearful avoidance insecurities begin to really arise. And it's because fearful avoidance insecurities are largely based on trust. And different attachment styles have different insecurities. Like we'll see, for example, the anxious preoccupied tend to have a huge insecurity around the fear of abandonment. We'll see that the dismissive avoidant tends to have an insecurity around being shamed, criticized, feeling defective, or like something's wrong with them. And fearful avoidants, their biggest insecurity lies in their sort of subconscious belief that trust will inevitably be broken in a relationship in a major way, leading to them feeling betrayed. Now, this arises in a whole bunch of different ways for fearful avoidance. I see fearful avoidance feeling afraid of somebody becoming bored of them, of somebody abandoning them as well. That can definitely show up there. Losing interest, feeling like they're not worthy over time. And a lot of fearful avoidance put a lot of pressure on themselves to be perfect and feeling like through their perfection, they earn love, they earn commitment. And in my opinion, this largely reflects the fact that fearful avoidants are often in a relationship that doesn't make it past the honeymoon or power struggle stage. Because what we'll see, and it's really important to know this, once we move beyond a power struggle stage, a lot of what we'll understand is that love isn't about like just infatuation or fighting. It's not about like extreme intense attraction or being on the roller coaster. It's actually about inner like harmony in terms of how you communicate, how you compromise, how you work through things together, how vulnerable you are, how much you can share and express yourself. And when we build those deeper roots, that's actually a part of how we build trust. So it's really important to recognize as a fearful avoidant that trust is something that, yes, we have an internal trust baseline when we begin a relationship. And that's based off of our own assumptions and beliefs about other people, right? If somebody went through a lot of trauma around trust, they're going to have what I call a fragmented internal trust baseline. They're going to have a lot of suspicions, a lot of red flags, a lot of concerns that they're going to like really recognize and be super hyper vigilant about quite early in relationships, irrespective sometimes of even how the other person's behaving. But trust beyond that internal trust baseline is actually built over time, and it's built through vulnerability. It's built through communication. It's built through showing your internal self. And so when fearful avoidants are hiding and not wanting to show their flaws, not wanting to show their weaknesses, not wanting to open up, then what they're actually doing is limiting their chances of being able to feel like trust can be built in a strong way in a relationship. And in doing that, they're going to continue to have more of those trust wounds, which will breed greater feelings of insecurity in the relationship dynamic. So in summary of all of that so far, one of the first and most important things for fearful avoidance to do is to work on removing their fears around trust, removing their fears around vulnerability, and practicing fostering more depth in their relationships by speaking up, showing their flaws, communicating about their needs, communicating about when they feel insecure or afraid, and having a partner who comes up with solutions and works with them. Now, will this be everybody? No. But having healthy communication around these things increases the chances so dramatically that these types of conversations will happen and that the relationship will grow in the right direction. And if we have somebody who, when we're communicating about these sorts of things, doesn't want to participate and doesn't want to have healthy conversations and open up and work through things, then that's probably the wrong relationship that you're in. So that's a huge part. And the other part in terms of reprogramming the internal trust baseline is writing out all of your fears around trust and working on actually using reprogramming tools to change and transform those fears. We have a course that you can check out for free. It's called Overcoming broken trust and jealousy. And I'll put a link in the description box below. And it's all about like actually understanding all of the wounds that relate to your internal trust baseline and being able to do the work to reprogram them. So finding all those different fears, and a lot of them are just beliefs we've acquired over time. Beliefs like everybody will cheat, everybody will leave, people get bored of you as time goes on, people will lose interest, people lie about big things. You know, a lot of these concepts and ideas that, is it true that a portion of the population does that stuff? Yes. But when we dig into that, we'll see there's a lot more there. That stuff has a lot to do with like, you know, those people's own trauma that they're bringing into relationships. And there's a lot of people who don't do that stuff whatsoever, who are really loyal and faithful in relationships. And so it's about trying to understand the difference between one sort of sample size of people. And because that was your experience with your sample size of people, assuming that that's everybody all the time, and being able to actually practice distinguishing the difference, doing reprogramming work so you can remove those inner fears and not feel like you're in a position where you're always concerned about that taking place, and then that breeds all this insecurity in your relationships. So really important to work on that internal trust baseline. And then another part of healing insecurity for a fearful avoidant is, like we just talked about, communicating your needs, talking about your feelings, talking about your fears, and allowing that vulnerability, that leap of faith for somebody to be able to meet you part way and be able to like support you in those fears, and allowing yourself to receive that support, allowing yourself to receive love, even though you have fears and weaknesses and character flaws, just like every other human being. And then the third major thing I would say in here is to stop believing that your worth or your ability to be loved is about how perfect you are in different areas. Because a lot of fearful avoidants feel like, oh, you know, if I, you know, am doing a great job in career, financial, mental, emotional, spiritual, physical, relationship, if I'm crushing all areas, then I'm worthy of love. And until then, I'm not actually worthy of love at all. And I've heard a lot of fearful avoidants over the years say things to me like, oh, you know, once I, you know, get back in shape and get a better job and have more money saved, then I'll, you know, allow myself to date. And it's like, but you don't have to be perfect. It's healthy to prepare yourself and be in a stable place mentally, emotionally, to go out into the dating world. But if you're like nitpicking all these different things about yourself just to think that that makes you worthy of somebody liking you or being attracted to you, then you're really putting yourself in a tough position long term, and you're making your ability to be loved based on how perfect you are, or these sort of perfectionistic ideas. And that only keeps you in that cycle of feeling unworthy, because the moment you have, you know, a day where you're not feeling your best, or things aren't going well, or something changed in your career, you're going to make that mean that like, oh, now I've lost my worth as a human and I'm less lovable as a human as well. And your worth is not about what you do or what you have. It's literally about who you are. And so much of nourishing that worth internally means you treating yourself with kindness, compassion, love, care, even if you make mistakes, even if things aren't going perfectly. And in doing that repetitively, you'll start to feel stronger, even in any imperfections or challenges. And your subconscious mind will build a new comfort zone around that. And it will make you feel like it's easier to receive love from the outside, even if you have imperfections and weaknesses, which we all do, and we always all will to a certain degree. So really important tool is that self-compassion piece, that ability to be more self-accepting, even in your flaws. And that starts within first, so that you can then build out that subconscious comfort zone and feel comfortable receiving that externally. So these are 3 really good places to start in terms of how to stop feeling insecure in your relationships. I hope this makes a whole lot of sense. And again, you can check out the Repairing Broken Trust course for free, clicking the link in the description box below. And thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.